Raw Story has a really interesting article about Buddhism out today. They say, quote, researchers from Belgium and Taiwan have found that being exposed to Buddhist concepts can lead to increased pro-social behavioral intentions and undermine prejudice towards others. In 3 separate experiments of 355 individuals, the researchers found that being exposed to words related to Buddhism could, quote, automatically activate pro-sociality and tolerance, in particular among people with socio-cognitive open-mindedness. The study adds to a growing body of research about priming, a phenomenon in which merely being exposed to certain words or concepts changes the way people think or behave. It was published in the April issue of the Personality and Social Psychology Bulletin. They continue and say, when Westerners familiar with Buddhism read religious words like Dharma and Nirvana, which they were exposed to under the guise of completing a word puzzle, they reported lower negative attitudes toward outgroups compared to participants exposed to positive, non-religious words like freedom. Westerners with a Christian background also became more tolerant after being exposed to Buddhist concepts, though only among those with a predisposition for valuing the welfare of all people and an aversion towards authoritarianism. So this is interesting, and a lot of people are saying that, hey, this kind of shows that Buddhism is better than the other religions. And is there a grain of truth in that? Yes. As far as the major religions go, I personally would also say that Buddhism is a little bit less crazy than, Christianity and Judaism and Islam. But still, I don't think that the takeaway is as concrete as people are making it. Because, number one, there's various different strains of Buddhist thought. So there's differing opinion within the Buddhist world, if you will. So you can't just really throw this whole umbrella of Buddhism is better out there, because sometimes that's not the case. I mean, I think that the Japanese kamikaze pilots that did suicide missions in World War II, I think they had a mix of a philosophy, but Buddhism was in there as well. I think Zen Buddhism is different from other forms of Buddhism, and, different ways of acting come about from believing different versions of Buddhism. But also, I just think that what this means is, if you focus on kind concepts in general, and if you focus on tolerating people and being open-minded and not being a dick, then yeah, you're going to get better in those areas. And I also like how they slipped in the line here that it only worked in people who were already predisposed to kind of be nice anyway. So doesn't that almost defeat the whole purpose of the religion leading to it? Like, there's really not a causation-correlation thing going on here. And also, I mean, they're totally disregarding, I think, the biggest aspect when it comes to religion that atheists point out all the time as a big issue, which is tribalism. I mean, that's the main problem. Even if you have a religion which only teaches really good things, really positive things, you still have this issue of the in-group, out-group mentality, where you're either part of the good old boys club and you're part of that religion, or you're not. And if you're not, it's easy for people to naturally, subconsciously feel like, oh, you're the other, and you're bad. Which is why we've seen that even amongst people who believe Buddhism to their core, in Myanmar, for example, there's vicious, brutal, violent repression of the Muslims in Myanmar. Buddhist mobs have burnt down Muslim homes, and they've attacked them, and they've beheaded them, literally. We've covered stories on the show about that. So yes, although you can grade different religions and you could look at what they teach and some are better than others, and Buddhism is one of the better ones, that's not saying much, because it's like being the tallest kid in kindergarten. Why don't we just go ahead and dismiss all of the irrational, untrue beliefs and focus on using reason and logic and rationality and science and being open-minded in a secular way?